Our guest musician this morning is Jim Sorensen.
Oh, beautiful.
Jim has been playing piano since he was 5 years old. A pianist, composer, singer, and songwriter, born with the unusual talent of perfect pitch.
Wow.
He plays for churches around the valley and does occasional concerts in Casa Grande. Jim's intention is to inspire young pianists and composers, songwriters to keep at their craft. Keep creating and making their own music. It's about expressing yourself through sound to bring joy and healing to those who hear and find solace in the music that is created. Please help me welcome, once again, Jim Sorensen.
So, this is an original song that I had children from Glendale sing, so enjoy the PowerPoint. just wanted to say that that's an original song. Lyrics and music was written for Unity World Day of Peace 11 or 12 years ago, and a good friend of mine put that PowerPoint together, and I wanted to share that with you this morning. Having kids sing it, I think, is more powerful than myself. So, anyway, I just wanted to share that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And that was you playing.
Yeah, yes, of course.
Beautiful.
Yes.
We have a few new people here today. One, of course, is Jim. Jim has never played for our church before, so what a blessing. And we have a person returning that we haven't seen for quite a while. Can you remind me of your name?
Connie.
Connie. Welcome back, Connie. And we have a new person that's helping Mark on the sound. And running with Robert Bob. They'll go by many different names. So welcome. So we'll say together, hearts open wide. We love you, we bless you, and we welcome you. And then this morning our opening prayer will be led by the incredible Reverend Tony Corrigan.
Wow. I guess all I had to do was stay away for a couple weeks and then a lot of people would come. So let's just take a deep breath, close our eyes and feel that wonderful, wonderful gratitude for the music and the peace song. Our hearts are filled with gratitude and our hearts are open. Gratitude for everyone that contributes to our Sunday morning service, for Rev Jeanne's messages, for Mark's work on the computer, for Julia's work on this camera. We are so blessed. So we are filled with gratitude. And more than that, our hearts are open. We know that each of us is here by divine appointment. And there is a special message for each one of us here this morning. So our hearts are open, and we are listening, and we are watching. And we give thanks, and so it is.
And today our daily word, I don't know who signed up. I missed it. Oh, Julia, thank you. Today our daily word will be led by Julia Morton.
Thank you, Jim, for that beautiful slideshow. And today's daily word is world peace. I did. I envision all people living in harmony. Sometimes I wonder about my place in the world that is changing so rapidly. I realize that many of the world's people may be wondering the same thing. Can change feel scary, especially when I feel as though I have to navigate a shifting landscape alone? I expand my awareness and wonder whether others are feeling the way I do. Feeling fearful or insecure can overwhelm feelings of peace. As peace seems further and further away, it's easy to drift into isolation and discord. A couple years of that one. I pray reclaiming peace by feeling my divine identity as a child of God. I remember that all people share this divine identity. I include all the world's people in my prayer, envisioning us coming together in harmony to create a peaceful world. I'm going to repeat that last part. envisioning us coming together in harmony to create a peaceful world. And from Hebrews 12:14, pursue peace with everyone and the holiness without which no one will see the Lord. Pursue peace with everyone and the holiness without which no one will see the Lord. So without that, we won't see.
And now we will have a song before we go into our meditation today. Our meditation will be led by Helen, so at the end of the song, Helen, if you'll just come on up, and if you want to express gratitude for the song, please just do a little, not clap, because some people want to remain in that yummy space. Jim.
Just a quick commercial for me. We have a few CDs back there, and one of the CDs I have is called Endless Grace. I took the very famous song Amazing Grace and made a very quiet piano version of it, so I thought it would be appropriate to go into the meditation with that. And so I don't need to hear you click afterwards. If you want to even just enjoy and I call it Endless Grace because God's grace is endless. So here's my version of Amazing Grace, Endless Grace.
Just keep your eyes closed and allow yourself to feel a great sense of peace. I didn't know what else was going to be said here today when I thought of this meditation that I wanted to present. but it fits right in, I think. So keep your eyes closed and allow yourself to be surrounded by a riot of color. I often have that anyway when I close my eyes. Picture your favorite flowers in the center of that riot of color. And in the center of all of it is a wonderful babbling brook. Oh, such a peaceful sound. Keeping all your flowers fresh. I haven't been coughing, but of course I would have to do that right now. Smell the perfume from the flowers. Imagine. This is the perfect place to meet and speak with God. A God who can appear in any form that you desire, remembering that God is you and you are God. Allow yourself a sense of warmth, intimacy, even holiness. Just breathe that in and know that because God is a part of you, all of that is a part of you. You can ask God anything you like, and wait a moment for a response that you may hear, sense, or just know. We all have lots of questions for God. And God is letting you know that you always have choices and are never forced to do anything, even when what you may be about to do is something that won't be kind to other relationships. But you just know that relationships with your higher powers are about love and respect and are able to act accordingly. In our current world, it's easy to think, how can God let this bad thing happen? And since we can't see what has never happened, there may be all kinds of things that have been prevented. And if God were to remove all the choices of independence, the world as you know it would cease to exist, and love would have no meaning. Know that God is telling you that even though there may be chaos all around you, always know that you are loved. Don't forget, in the midst of pain and heartache, you are still surrounded by beauty, sounds of laughter and love, of whispered hopes and celebrations, of new life and transformation, of reconciliation, and that every choice matters. I know sometimes when we're in the middle of a difficult time, we see all this laughter around us and people having a good time, and we think, how could that be happening? That's what life is made of. So we can choose that. We can choose to be surrounded by love and light. Choose to let God's love and peace shine through you and allow yourself to carry those feelings with you after you open your eyes and return to your current surroundings, knowing that God is you and you are God, and you can carry that sense of peace. It takes one person at a time, one person to experience a peace and a love to help shine and let other people see that you're a light and maybe start imitating that light. And before you know it, you have your own, at least, little circle of peace, love, and joy. So choose love and light. And slowly, very slowly, start to open your eyes, keeping that feeling with you as you come back into the room and Rev Jeanne shares a wonderful message with us.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much, both of you. And now we will say together the Lord's Prayer. Heavenly Source, Thou who art everywhere, hallowed be Thy name or Thy vibration. Thy kingdom come, Thy will be done, here, now, and forevermore. Fill us with the power of Thy mercy, and free us from the fetters with which bind each other. Lead us out of temptation, from ourselves, and give us the strength to be at one with Thee. Teach us the true power of forgiveness. May this holy moment be the ground from which our future actions grow. Amen. And now we will have one more song.
I had planned to do a particular song, and I hope you don't mind, I'm switching gears. Sometimes I feel the moment. And in my Endless Grace CD, I have a few traditional Christian, if you will, songs that I've made my own. One of them is to the 23rd Psalm. And I took that very famous song and decided to look at what would it sound like if King David did it in a Middle Eastern type of way. So I'm going to do my original version of the 23rd Psalm. I haven't warmed up my voice, so here's to send me some energy from my voice. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for Thou
anointest my head with oil. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth o'er. My cup runneth o'er. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The Lord is my shepherd.
I could just see King David standing there singing. It's beautiful. I was challenged many years ago. I think it was before I became a minister. It was probably a couple of years before I came to this church. I was challenged by Reverend Bonnie to say the Psalm 23 over and over. Every time I caught myself in monkey mind, I would say it. And it's been some time, I don't have it memorized anymore, but man, that psalm is powerful. If you just repeat that daily, life changes. I really love that. Thank you. So today we conclude our series of What Will This Year Bring? For the past 4 weeks, we've talked about what will this year bring for you personally in your life. We've activated the universal law by setting intentions and themes for our lives. And we've discussed lots of tools of consciousness for living from our themes and bringing our intentions into our experiences. The tools have included, anyone care to remember? Shout out the word life. L stands for letting go of the past. I, imagining a greater life. F, freeing yourself to choose. E, expressing your divinity. And then we looked at the 3 R's. Refocus your awareness. Renew your mind. And recommit your heart to your spiritual tools and practices. And then we looked at our theme from a broader perspective last week. What will this year bring in our world? By discussing the Gandhi King season for nonviolence that begins today and runs through April 4th, which was inspired by the Association for Global New Thought and was inspired by the 50th and the 30th memorial services or anniversaries of Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This international movement strives to honor their vision for an empowered, nonviolent world. And what we discovered is that even though we are looking today at a broader, more global question of what this year will bring in the world, it still comes down to each individual person. So today, we'll wrap up this month by looking at what I will call the key to the kingdom. These are the words from Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore in Words of Truth. Pronounce every experience good and of God. And by that mental attitude, you will call forth only the good. Isn't that a great line? I pronounce every experience good and of God. Thereby, I call forth only the good. What a great way to set a tone for the rest of the year. New Thought minister David Owen Ritz offers a class called The Keys to the Kingdom. The concepts from which takes us a turn around the upward spiral of evolution to a stronger, more stable, mature, expanded consciousness, which is consistent with abundance consciousness, which is a more fully aligned with the universal all good, all things good. In the class, they explore 7 keys to unlocking the kingdom. And these keys are very similar to the tools that we've discussed this month. For example, his keys are 1, making the commitment. 2, holding the vision. 3, building a new awareness. 4, making room for the new. 5, letting go of the past. 6, counting the blessings. And 7, living in the flow. And I believe there's an additional key. And I'm going to call it the master key. And that then allows those 7 keys to be activated. Not only activated, but effective. And that's what I want us to explore this morning. Frankly, it is a key that has been given a bad rap. It has a sullied reputation. And those in the spiritual world don't usually think too kindly toward it because it has been misused. It has simply been misunderstood. So this morning I want to give us a new use for this word, this key, because it is vital to unlocking the kingdom of life, where every experience is good and of God. To introduce this misused, misunderstood key, I have 2 quick stories, and then I'm going to ask you what the key is. So first, warming up before her jog one morning, a woman stood a few feet from a large oak tree. She placed both her hands on it and pushed against it to stretch her calf muscles. She was in the midst of this standard runner's ritual when a young man passed by. He stopped, he turned, and he just shook his head. You're going to be there forever doing it that way. Get a saw!
Get a what?
Get a saw.
Saw it down instead of trying to.
Second, a man was sitting at the corner of a diner and said to the waitress, I guess I'll just have a cup of coffee. She replied, no jelly donuts today? No, he said, I'm trying to cut back. Maybe later. How much later, the waitress asks. Oh, about 15 minutes. She says, wow, your willpower is amazing. So what is it? What's that misunderstood key, master key to the kingdom? Yeah, willpower. It's our misused, misunderstood master key to the kingdom is the use of our willpower or our will. We think of using our willpower as trying to force or coerce something to happen. Just like the young man thought that our jogger was trying to use her force to take down that large oak tree. or the man using his willpower not to have a jelly donut. Not very effective in either case, was it? And if you'll recall, in the model of spiritual evolution, and I know it's been a while since we've talked about that, it's the why me, or by me, through me, or as me. We talked about the will in the by me stage a lot. We learned that we are creative beings. We are not victims. And that the power of creation lives in us. It is tempting to move into thinking that we can, through our will, force things to happen. Our New Thought leaders have cautioned us against the misuse of will. Here are just a few things that they've had to say. Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind said, healing is not accomplished through willpower. Thomas Troward in the Door Lectures said, therefore it is that if we would bring a new order of life and light and liberty into our lives, we must commence by bringing a new order into our thought and find ourselves the starting point of a new creative series, not by the force of will, personal will. Florence Scovel Shinn in the Game of Life and How to Play It. She said, the curious thing is, man always gets just what he desires when he does relinquish personal will. So why then am I saying our will is the master key to unlocking the other keys to the kingdom? Well, let's look at will with a new definition this morning. Will is the conscious, directive power of our thoughts. And so we decide just what we wish to have done in our creative process. The will holds the attention to our intentions and themes that we created for this year, until the creative power has time to work through the universal laws. Law. The will must first analyze, dissect, and then decide what it wishes the inner imagination to work on. The spiritual principle on which we live, move, and have our being in is there is only one presence and one power in my life, God the good, omnipotence. And we use our will to remember this and not let anything get in the way of that principle. Let me give you the rest of the story, so to speak, of the brief quotes that I shared before about incorrect use of will. Holmes said, healing is not accomplished through willpower, but by knowing the truth. And we use our will to keep us focused on the truth. That there is one presence and one power, and that is God. And I am one with that presence and that power. Thomas Troward in the Door Lectures said, therefore it is that if we would bring a new order of life, light, and liberty into our lives, we must commence by bringing a new order into our thought and find in ourselves the starting point of a new creative series, not by the force of will, personal will, but by union with the divine spirit. which in the expression of its inherent love and beauty makes all things new. And we use our personal will to remain in the mental and emotional consciousness of union with the Divine Spirit. Florence Scovel Shinn, in The Game of Life and How to Play It, said the curious thing is, man always gets just what he desires when he does relinquish personal will, thereby enabling infinite intelligence to work through it. And we actually need to use our will to keep us in the mental and emotional place to enable infinite intelligence to work through us. Right? Does it make sense? Let me give you an example. I know this is kind of a heavy talk today, but it makes all the difference in the world to me. To keep focused on that divine union with Spirit. My mentor asked me this past week to substitute teach for her the Art of Feminine Presence classes. I did one on Tuesday night and one on Wednesday evening this past week. And one of those classes was on Zoom, and I don't do Zoom classes. I attend Zoom classes, but I've never led. And so my monkey mind wanted to get in there and say, you're going to bomb this, you're not going to be able to do this, right? But I kept resisting that thought. I kept saying to my mantra, when that thought came up, I'd say, I surrender to the presence and the power of God within me. And I'd say it over and over. Full well knowing that if something came up that I didn't know how to do in that class, there would be somebody in that class that would help me. And that's exactly what happened. And the whole experience could have been horrible for me had I listened to monkey mind and not used my willpower to go back to my mantra. I want to share a concept this morning from a published book by Napoleon Hill, written in 1938. It was written in 1938, but it wasn't actually published until 2011. It's called Outwitting the Devil. Before sharing the concepts from the book, its title takes my mind to a story on the outskirts of a small town. There was a big old pecan tree just inside the cemetery fence. One day, two young boys gathered up a bucket full of nuts, and they sat down by the tree, out of sight, and began dividing them. One for you, one for me. One for you, one for me. Several nuts dropped and rolled down the hill toward the fence. Along came another boy riding on his bike. He passed through it and thought he heard voices from inside the cemetery. He slowed down to investigate. Sure enough, one for you, he heard, one for me. And he just knew what it was. He jumped back on his bike and he rode off. And just around the bend, he met an old man with a cane hobbling along. "Come here quick," said the boy. "You won't believe what I just heard. Devil and God are down at the cemetery dividing up the souls." The man said, "Beat it, kid. Can't you see? It's hard for me to walk." The boy insisted, and the old man hobbled slowly with him to the cemetery. Standing by the fence, they heard, "One for you, one for me. One for you, and one for me." The old man whispered, "Boy, you've been telling me the truth. Let's just see if we can see the Lord. And I sure would like to get a glimpse of the devil himself." Shaking with fear, they peered through the fence, yet they were still unable to see anything. The old man and the boy gripped the wrought iron bars on the fence tighter and tighter as they tried to get a glimpse of God and the devil having a conversation, but to no avail. At last they heard, "One for you, one for me." All right, that's all of them. Now let's go get those nuts by the fence and we'll be done. They say that the old man had the lead for a good half mile before that kid passed him on the bike. Of course, I want you to know that in Unity we don't believe in the devil, because we believe there is one presence and one power, and that is God. There can't be God and something else. There is only God. So Hill's book may seem contradictory to our beliefs, and if we take it literally, well, it is. But if we take it metaphysically, it is right in line with our beliefs. In it, Hill writes, "My greatest weapon over human beings consists of two secret principles by which I gain control of their minds. Through the first principle, the principle of habit, I silently enter the minds of people. By operating through this principle, I establish the habit of drifting. When a person begins to drift on any subject, he's headed straight toward the gates of what you earthbound call hell. A drifter is one who permits himself to be influenced and controlled by circumstances outside of his own mind. A drifter is one who accepts whatever life throws his way without making a protest or putting up a fight." And further on in the book, Outwitting the Devil, it says, "Nothing can stop me except the power of accurate thought." People who think accurately do not drift on any subject. They recognize the power of their own minds. Moreover, they take over that power and yield it to no person or influence. He also says, "I control the minds of men only because they neglect or refuse to control and use their own minds." What do these concepts have to do with our master key today? We use the power of our will not to drift. We use the power of our will to take control of our minds. We use the power of our will to create habits of our accurate thinking. So today, I invite you to try this. Whenever your mind wanders, whenever you find yourself drifting to a negative thought or feeling, use your will to return to, there is only one power and one presence in my life, God the good, omnipotence. If you feel resistance, then you know there's a place for some deeper exploration and perhaps some healing. When you don't feel resistance to the statement, you'll feel it in your body. You'll feel more expansive. You'll feel your shoulders relax. You'll feel your forehead relax. Your chin relax as you lean into and open up your communication, your connection with the truth. This is revolutionary when you really get it. Often when we think of willpower, we think we're going to try to make ourselves do something. And we just push ourselves and push ourselves. really, that is such a small amount of the strength that we're capable of. There was a little boy who was out for a walk with his dad. He walked up to a big rock and he looked at his dad and he said, "Do you think I can move that rock?" Dad said, "I think you can if you use all your power." The little boy moves up his shoulders and he presses on that rock hard, hard, and he can't move it. He tries and he tries, using all the force that he has, but he can't make it move. Finally, he says to his dad, "Dad, you were wrong. I used all of my power, but I still can't make that rock move." Dad said, "You didn't use all your power. You didn't ask me for help." Let's just take a moment to close our eyes, enter into the place of the Most High, where all the divine help, the divine strength, and divine power reside. And we claim, I pronounce every experience good and of God. And thereby I call forth only the good. Let's take a deep breath as we come back together and proclaim our affirmation today. Together, there is only one life. This life is God. This life is my life now, and this life is good. Thank you, God. And now it is time for our offering. Many of us provide our offering online. And if you would like to give it an offering today, we don't pass the basket around anymore. We have a basket over here on the table that you can drop in whatever you want before you leave today. We really appreciate your love, your support. We put our energy, which is in the form of our money, into this church so that we can spread the good news of God, that God is inside each and every one of us. And again, we, on behalf of myself and the board, are so grateful for everything that you guys do to support us. So now we will sing, Karen, or before we do that, we will say our offering blessing together, holding in mind in your heart that offering, saying together, "Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, and all that I circulate. I am so blessed." Thank you, God. And now we will sing Karen Drucker's song, "I Am So Blessed."
Together. I am so
blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I give. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am
and know they are but a symbol of the inexhaustible substance of the universe. I give thanks that 10 times as much is now on its way to me and grandly manifests in perfect ways. Thank you, God. And our announcements for today. Well, thank you, Jim, for being here and sharing your gifts with us. Jim did bring many CDs in the back. They're $10 a piece. Please support our local musicians and take him home with you. Let's just give a little thank you to Jim for being here today. We hope you come back. And we've even discussed him being our accompanier for Christmas concert, or for choir. So we're going to look at those dates and cross our fingers on that. Our annual meeting is going to be February 20th. So our bylaws require us to have an annual meeting every year. So all of you are welcome to come. We talk about the finances of the church and plans for the church for the next year. So we'd love to have you come. February 27th, the last Sunday of the month of February, we'll have our special guest speaker, John Stringer. He was the musician on my Peru trip. He was phenomenal. And the man exudes love and light. And so I've asked him to do the message that day. He's going to do the music that day. And after church, he's going to do a concert where he storytells. And I've been to one of his storytelling concerts, and you leave floating full of love and excitement about your own life. So I really hope many of you will plan on joining that day. We are going to ask for a love offering, just to bless John for his extra time. And his family's coming out as well. I believe they're bringing their son. So anything to help offset his costs, So that's why we've extended it. Our announcements, let's see. February 10th, we're having our picnic. Betty, did you want to say anything?
Well, I haven't gotten any emails from anyone saying that they're coming. So I hope you guys are reading your emails and will send me your name so I will know who to send the detailed information to in the map. So let me know.
I'm coming. And then the first Sunday of the month, we always have a book study group together, and we've been focusing on H. Emily Katie's book, Lessons in Truth. And so all are welcome to join us after church on the first Sunday of the month.
On chapter 4.
We're on chapter 4. Yes, thank you, Tony. Sign-up sheets, please, in the back. Fill out different things for you guys to volunteer for. It's a big help for me, otherwise I have to call people and ask for volunteers. So I appreciate it when you sign up. I don't have a prayer partner listed on the sheet today, so who would like to volunteer to be our prayer partner for today? Juliet? Reverend Juliet Bristow will be in the back over here, thank you. We also have our prayer box in the back over here. Anything that you fill out on that prayer box goes to Silent Unity, and we pray for you for that same prayer for 30 days. Very powerful. We also have our Reiki meetings every Tuesday at 9:30. If you would like to get plugged in to that, please contact Mike in the back there, if you raise your hand, and also Betty. Those two you can connect and get into the Reiki meetings. And then also we have Reverend Juliet Norton leads the prayer team on Wednesdays. Again, another powerful group. Our musician for next week is Barb Horton and the Yayas. And I believe that's it for our announcements. Anything else? Does anybody else have anything they wanted to say? Julia.
Real quick, if you don't get the emails because you don't have an email, there's the letter for the annual meeting on the back table.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Rob. Appreciate you both very much. And Julia, thanks for setting up early. All right, let's all stand and sing the peace song.
Let there be peace on earth surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. And the presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. And wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you.